So how do you talk to yourself? This came up with a client of mine yesterday, and we are essentially talking about how he speaks to himself in his mind. Something we don't understand about ourselves because we live in a culture that really enhances thinking. We're taught to think and think and think and problem solve, and that somehow our mind is meant to just be overrun by thoughts at all times. What we don't understand is that the way our brain is made and the way our body is made, first of all, our brain, our mind communicates with our body. Our body also communicates with our mind. So our mind can influence how our body feels just by the content of our thoughts and how our emotions respond to those thoughts. And likewise, our body can interact with our mind. So if we are sensing something in our body, or we're feeling something in our body, or we're holding our body a certain way, it will actually influence how our brain interprets the world around us. So if we're holding our body in a real tense way, our brain will actually believe that we're under stress, or we're under duress, or we're possibly under threat. Sometimes you can alleviate anxiety just by opening your body up. Just by slowing down and recognizing you're holding your body in a tense manner, you're holding your breath, you're holding your throat tight, you're holding your chest. So opening up and allowing yourself to operate in a much more relaxed and slow way will allow you to feel relaxed. But what I wanted to focus on is, how do you speak to yourself? Notice that we all have this inner dialogue. We're almost always thinking. We're thinking about the bills. We're thinking about our relationships. We're thinking about what we have to do tomorrow. We're thinking about what we did yesterday. We're thinking about what we did 10 years ago. We have regrets about the past. We have worries about the future. What we don't tend to understand is that whatever we hold up in our conscious mind, our emotional brain, or another way to think of it is our limbic system, will believe what we hold up as if it's reality. For example, if you are constantly running negative thoughts in your mind, if you are constantly ruminating about the future and what may go wrong in the future, if you're constantly resentful about the past and you're constantly thinking about what went wrong or what you're angry about or how the world treated you, what we don't realize is that we are literally sending a message to our emotional brain, our emotional mind, to react accordingly, to react. So basically our emotional mind, I like to think of our emotional mind almost like a naive child that believes whatever you put in front of it. So if you put a negative thought or a fearful thought or a resentful thought or a resentful idea, and or if you are holding on to negative emotions in your body, your emotional brain is going to believe that that shit is real, and it's going to react accordingly. And it's like what I shared with you yesterday, that we are literally writing the algorithms for our emotional experience in real time all the time. So think about that for a second. We are writing the algorithms for our emotional experience in real time all the time. We are writing those algorithms by how we respond to and how we judge, how we interpret the sensations in our body and the thoughts in our mind. A real simple way to think about this that I shared with my client yesterday is this thing we call self-affirmations. I actually used to think self-affirmations were a bunch of BS, I have to be honest with you. It wasn't until I started to really understand the mind and I started to really play with this in my own life that I realized I can send messages to myself. I can hold information up in my consciousness, and I can actually teach and guide and trick my emotional mind into believing these things are real. This is actually how things like, if you've heard of the book The Secret, which I was totally not into for a long time. I'm still kind of skeptical about some. I don't like magical thinking. So what I'm not talking about here, I'm not talking about magical thinking. I'm talking about something that makes perfect sense. Whatever you hold up in your consciousness, whatever you focus on, wherever you put your attention, that is what you are going to create in your life. Now, it may be a little more complex than that because we're not living in a vacuum. So we're surrounded by people. Their energy, their choices, their emotions affect us as well. Our circumstances affect us. Our self, inner and outer, affects us. The world around us affects us. Time and space affects us. However, what I shared yesterday was, what do you have control over and what don't you have control over? There is no point in putting your energy into trying to control things that is out of your capacity to manage. Managing other people, managing surrounding circumstances that you have no control over, it is a waste of your energy. What you can do, though, is you can practice how you speak to yourself. You can practice where you put your attention, and wherever you put your attention will tend to dictate over time your emotional experience, your interpersonal experience, and really it will manifest the things of your life that end up being the outcomes of your life. Okay? So pay attention to what's in your mind. Pay attention to where your mind is. If you are putting your mind in a positive place, if you're putting your mind, and I mean this on a very subtle level, if you are focusing your thoughts and focusing your energy on the things that are important to you and what you want, and you're putting your mind in a positive place, you can actually move your life in a more positive direction. Now, a lot of times people try this once or twice and they get frustrated and they say, oh, that's not working. It has to be a change in how you live your life. This is where we get into things like mindfulness and meditation. Meditation to me is simply the act of not thinking and or the act of managing your focus, managing your attention, whereas mindfulness is being conscious in the moment of your thoughts and your emotions and your body and your environment. So it's being mindful and observant and accepting of what is without necessarily reacting to it or judging it or behaving on autopilot. So we can use tools like mindfulness practice. We can use tools like meditation to manage where our mind is and where our attention is. All right? So manage your mind, man. Manage your attention and see what happens. Have a good day.